this is Wall-E here with a special commentary track for our first video in the Final Fantasy VII walkthrough. These commentary tracks are going to pop in and out as the series moves along, so we can highlight different aspects of the game, focus on hard areas that maybe just the video walkthrough can't help you out with, and also to just talk about what could be considered the best game of all time. And by could be, I do mean it actually is. Final Fantasy VII is the greatest game ever made. You're welcome to argue with me. This game is the tops. I know there's a lot of you Ocarina of Time fans out there. We're even doing the Ocarina of Time as a walkthrough. But Final Fantasy VII is a genre-defining and cultural phenomenon that really helped push video games to a different stratosphere when the PlayStation 1 came out. I hope many of you agree with me, and if you don't agree, I'm sure you'll let me know about it in the comments. So we're going to start pretty much right away. This is that classic opening cinematic. This opening cinematic was actually remade recently for the PlayStation 3 as a test, as a demo for the PS3's graphical capabilities. This came as a shock to everyone who saw it because no one knew it was coming, and we thought it was a glimpse at something we've been wanting for a long time. A full-res, beautiful, next-gen graphics remake of Final Fantasy VII. Square Enix isn't opposed to remaking classic games, so there's hope still to be had that this will happen one day, but for the moment, we are stuck with this. But what we're stuck with is phenomenal, so hard to be a complainer. Final Fantasy VII. Just sounds right. It's just the perfect number. Every Final Fantasy should be Final Fantasy VII, but alas, they're not. A little backstory about why we're doing Final Fantasy VII. You might be asking yourself, why would we be doing a game that's damn near 15 years old? Well, it's just too classic. This is the kind of game that any self-respecting video game content provider would be remiss if they didn't cover the classics. I mean, people still play these games. I mean, it's on the PlayStation 3 network. You can put it on your PSP, which is a blast, by the way. This game, as epic and sprawling as it is, the missions are bite-sized enough to warrant being played on the go. It's actually quite a fun experience. So yeah, people are still playing this game. It's one of the best, if not the best of all time. It's worth doing. Any other classic games that you guys feel deserve that sort of attention, let us know. We are certainly willing to take any and all requests. If it's within our capabilities of doing it and enough people want to see it, then by all means, we're there for you. One of the things you'll also notice pretty much right away with Final Fantasy VII is how different it is in just overall look from every Final Fantasy game that came before it. This is the first game that tried to branch out of that 2D world. Yeah, the look of this game is just so different from what came before it, and it was a big reason why this game had such the impact it did right out of the gates. This game is credited as being the reason the PlayStation is what it is today. When Square released Final Fantasy VII, man, it was all over. This was a game that got me to get a PlayStation, and I've been a PlayStation guy ever since. Cloud. Ex-soldier extraordinaire, plucky kid with too much moose, just a wee bit of the Popeye syndrome. One of the great little tidbits here in the beginning is you'll notice two of these guys are named Biggs and Wedge. Any eagle-eyed Star Wars fans will catch those references. I got a kick out of that as a kid. So when you start this game, you find yourself working for Avalanche, a terrorist/freedom-fighting organization hell-bent on bringing down the Shinra Corporation. This is really a departure from anything that Final Fantasy did before it. Final Fantasy VI did have a lot of modern to advanced technological aspects, including those really awesome mech things that you could ride, but it didn't really embrace it as a sort of future society that Final Fantasy VII does. As you get later in the game, the world is much like almost every other Final Fantasy world. Open, sprawling, small towns, big towns. But Final Fantasy VII really gives you a sense that this is a world that people are living in, this massive metropolitan city. You've got all these small towns that act as sort of like suburbs to what is this capital of Final Fantasy VII's world. You even have beach resorts and casinos and arcades and winter havens to go snowboarding. This is the first Final Fantasy game that truly feels like a world that, if there was no story quest to do, you could live in it, and it would be okay. Also, I can't go any longer without talking about the music in this game. I tried to do a whole special commentary on just the awesomeness of the music, find a really juicy scene, and just play into it, but just listen to it. It's awesome. It's 99% awesome music. That's why this game has the replayability in my mind. It's like reading a book that comes with the greatest album ever as a supplement that you need to listen to while reading. Now, if that analogy didn't do anything for you, don't worry. It was what we in the business call a bad analogy. One of the first things you start getting in the game is its epic story fed to you in tiny little chunks along your big, long, epic quest. This game, the first time you play it, spends so much time building up the city of Midgar and the world and the story that after you've spent the first 10 to 20 hours of the game in the city and you escape, you've almost forgotten that this is a Final Fantasy game. This is going to take you to a large open world and you'll have continents after continents to go explore. It really gave this game just such a massive, epic feel. Cloud is, of course, the hero of the game, and Barret is your first team member. I never used Barret all that much. I thought the gimmick of having a gun for an arm was a little silly. But his story, as it progresses, particularly when you understand why he created Avalanche, just adds so many extra layers to why this game is so fantastic. Every character you meet along the way that joins your team has a backstory, has a reason they do what they do, and they're all unique. They're all different. So one of the things I might do as we continue forth with these commentaries is do a video on each character. So if you have a favorite character in Final Fantasy VII you like, or any just general area you'd like me to expand more upon with a commentary, go ahead and send that to requests@mahalo.com, or even tweet it to us at Video Games. That's right, at Video Games. That's our Twitter. We are Video Games. Don't forget it. Alright guys, this has been fun. I'll see you on the next Wally commentary. This is Wally being redundant.